Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another Facebook Live training. I'm Elise Smith. I am your host, I should say, I guess. But I'm really excited about today's training because this has been a very common theme that you've seen me talk about in my reels, in my emails to you, in my content over the last at least 3 weeks. I've really been focused on this. And this is because when I have people come into my private community, socially awesome entrepreneurs, I always ask, like, what are you struggling with? And the entry questions are, would you like me to reach out and see how I can help? 9 times out of 10, I'm not kidding, write it down. People are struggling with their content strategy. They've watched 1,000 modules. They have taken all the courses. Maybe they even are buying templates or content calendars from Etsy, just trying to figure out, like, one, how can I actually produce content that's going to bring in consistent sales? But two, how do I spend less time on my phone? Right? Let me know in the comments if this is you, if you can relate to this. If you signed up for your business or you decided you were going to start your business for time freedom, and now you're finding you spend more time on your phone than ever. Maybe your kids, grandkids, spouse, they're even noticing it. Right. And I find myself very often having to do the same, having to take myself off because I love what I do. But the beauty of what I teach to my students is creating a content strategy. And once we nail it, it's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So that allows you to create content quickly, efficiently, and spend less time on your phone because you already know what you're going to post. Potentially, you can even batch it if you have a plan. So today I really wanted to focus on mastering content strategy, the 3 key components to it, because while, there's all these different gurus out there, they're going to tell you all different things. There are 3 major components to a content strategy. And if you've been throwing spaghetti at the wall, if you've made a sale here, a sale there, or even if you've been posting and you don't feel like your content is resonating with your ideal client, doesn't matter. It all comes back to your content strategy because the content is the bread and butter of your business. It does your marketing. You can have the most absolute offer in the world, the best products out there on the market, but if you can't market them properly, not make sales, you don't have a business. Okay. And that always comes back to content and messaging, having the right strategy. Okay. So today we're going to talk about the 3 essential elements to crafting a killer content strategy that captivate your audience and drive real results for your business. And then we'll break down each individual piece. So I'm going to spend about 30 minutes with you today. Let me know in the comments. Make sure this is interactive. You guys, I do these trainings every Wednesday with the exception of last week because we had a family emergency. So I took the week off, but every single Wednesday for almost 2 years, I've been doing these trainings. Keep them interactive. Let me know how I can support you. Let me know how I can help you. Okay. So let's dive in. I'm using Gamma for this presentation that I've never used when I've been sharing before. So I just have to figure out how to get to the next page. Let's see. Come on. There we go. That works. All right. So there are 3 major components to your content strategy. First, understanding your ideal customer or your ideal client, right? You've heard this. This is not new. I'm not the first person to talk to you about this. If this is something you're struggling with, understanding your ideal client, I'm going to recommend that you stick around till the end of the training. Okay. I've got something super special for you, but I've done multiple trainings in this account or in this group about finding your avatar on social media, how to create emotion or evoke emotion in your content. But your entire content pillar or content strategy and your pillars have to be about your ideal client. This is why you can go take someone else's viral video, recreate it to a T, and it does nothing for you. It does not perform for you. That's because you're using someone else's content strategy. That doesn't mean that there aren't trending topics. That doesn't mean you can't do market research. But this is why you keep saying, I'm doing everything and nothing's working. It always comes back to knowing your ideal client in and out. If I go and copy a viral video, word for word and I don't customize it to my audience, I don't tailor it to my audience, of course it's not going to perform. That's not my ideal client. You are basically copying someone else's strategy and hoping that people think it's your words. And we've all done it. Okay. We've all done it at some point to where we're just like, I'm just going to make this video because it looks amazing. But if you're not customizing it to your ideal client, to their pain points, their interests, their online habits, their desires, then there will not be a result. So if you've been creating content and it's not engaging, it's not getting any engagement, it's not converting, there could be a lot of reasons, but it doesn't matter what reason it is. It always comes back to the ideal client. You either aren't evoking enough emotion in them, meaning you're not inside their head enough. You are maybe not speaking their language. You might be, I'll give you an example. So if you are creating content, maybe you're in the wealth niche online, okay, and you're creating content that is, all about you're living check to check, you need grocery money, this and that, you're going to attract people into your DMs or into your comments that don't have money because that's what you're talking about, right? So this is where understanding their desires and their interests comes into play, because you have to learn how to speak to the future person, right? So your DMs right now is full of people that you're speaking to. So if it's not the right person, then that means you're speaking to the wrong person, right? So if you are struggling at all with your content resonating with people, you're not getting any engagement, you have to do more ideal client work, okay? But your entire content strategy is built for your ideal client. So it's step one. If you don't know your ideal client and you're just posting content every day, it's definitely not going to do anything for your business. And it's most definitely not going to bring consistent sales. Okay. Step two of your content strategy is tailoring content to their needs, right? So creating content that resonates with your target audience, addresses their specific desires, but also, this is where most people struggle, shows your offer, so your product or your service, whatever you're selling, as a solution. As a solution. I see way too many videos online that are like, hey, I'm so and so. I started this to try to make extra money, to take my family on a vacation, buy my thing. That does absolutely nothing for your ideal client. That does not resonate with their desires. That does not show them your product or service will solve their problem. It won't. It doesn't. It does not. So your content's goal has to be showcasing how to go from point A, so where your ideal client is right now, today, to point B, where they want to be, right? And if it does not show that transformation or what's possible for that transformation to them in the process, it will go nowhere. It will go nowhere. It might, couple things can happen here. Your content might be really good. You might have step one nailed down. You might understand them. Okay. And you are speaking to their pain points. You're speaking to their interests, right? All three of these steps work synergistically. Okay. So if you're someone that is struggling with, maybe you're getting a ton of engagement, you have tons of cheerleaders, right? Your comments are full of, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so helpful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is great. But no one's actually buying anything. You've got number one, probably nailed down if it's the right people. Okay. So if your comment section is full of your ideal client, you've got number one nailed down. If your comment section is full of your peers, people selling the same thing as you need to go back to step one. Okay. But if you have step one nailed down, your comments and DMs are full of your ideal client, but no one's buying anything, that's because you need to work on step two. They cannot see in your content that there's a need for them to buy something to get a result. They're just cheering you on. They feel like you are stuck in the friend zone. You're stuck in the friend zone. And part of this, and I said in the email I sent yesterday, letting you guys know about this training, I was going to talk more about you becoming the expert. Okay. So maybe you've seen or heard other gurus talk about becoming the expert online, right? And how you don't need all these fancy accolades to be the expert. You don't need a fancy degree. Um, but you have to become the authority, not the expert. And I've used the term expert in the past, okay? But I'm going to tell you the difference between expert and the authority. And I learned this recently from Leanna, can't remember her last name. I'm so sorry. Or I would totally give her credit. She is amazing. She's got really great I think her brand is called Rich Queens. Anyway, she explained it and I was like, that makes so much sense. So I have to pass this on to you guys. An expert is one of many, right? So if I am looking for, an ankle doctor, I'm going to go get ankle surgery. There's probably a ton that are really good, right? That I could choose from. They're all experts, right? The authority is the only option. So if you had something life threatening, like maybe I had a very, rare, terminally ill, you know, something happening, you want the only option. Like there's one person, and maybe those aren't the best examples, but you get what I'm saying. An expert is one of many. So you're an option. There's probably 100 people selling exactly what you're selling, right? So if your content is not showcasing to them exactly what they need to hear that day, they have other options. When you become the authority, you're the only option. They see your content and they're like, that's my girl. Sign me up, take my credit card. Let's do this. Right? So you have to become the authority. And the only way to do that is to have conviction and feel confident in your content. And I'm going to give you a spoiler alert and a really, really good secret right here. You're not going to be confident in your content until you have a strategy. I'm sorry, you're not. When you wake up every day and you go, oh my God, I don't know what to post today. I don't know what to post today. You're not confident in your content. Okay. When you wake up every day refreshing, waiting on those little red bubbles to pop up and say you have notifications and you don't have any, and you're like, I just can't seem to figure out what is going wrong. Like, why am I sucking at this? What is happening? I've wasted my money. I don't want to tell my husband, like, you have no conviction. You are taking that mindset into your content. A lot of that comes down to one, you don't know your ideal client, so you're not confident in it. And two, you don't have a strategy. Easy as that. All right. Number 3, establishing a personal connection. So you have to learn to build trust and loyalty by crafting content that feels like a conversation with them. This is so important because step 1, we got to get to know your client. Step 2, we need to, speak to their needs, to show them in your content they need to purchase from you and there's a reason why. Step 3, building that personal connection. Defining your target audience is the 3 major components to a content strategy. Okay. It's not content pillars. It's not, and we will get into some of that here in a few minutes, I promise you, because that's part of the execution. But the major piece of a content strategy is this. That's where most people get it wrong. They think that I'm posting 3 times a day, I've got a content strategy. That's a posting schedule. Not the same thing. Okay. These are the 3 major components that you have to have in your content strategy. So, establishing that personal connection. This is where some of that social proof comes in. So, you like number 1, you know what they want. Number 2, you start showing them that, your product or service will help them get where they want. And number 3, you show proof of that, whether it be a screenshot of a sale, you tell a story about how these things helped you. You tell a story about one of your students or someone that you have helped, someone that bought your product or service. So like this is where that personal connection comes in, build that trust, because we all know people buy from people they know, like, and trust. Okay. So if they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. And I hate to tell you this, but when you show up and you are like, oh my God, I have this life-changing opportunity and blah, blah, blah. And then when you get in the DMs with them, you're like, I haven't made a sale yet. They don't trust you because you are not tailoring your content to their needs by being authentic. You are copying and pasting whatever you were told in whatever program you're in to just copy all the viral videos. And no one trusts that. You don't have the proof to be saying that, right? So, this is why it's very important that you learn how to build a content strategy, because your content strategy will change and develop as your business changes and develops. When I first got out here, I wasn't making income claims. I didn't have any income to claim. I started at zero. I quit my job with a couple weeks notice. Like, I didn't have a business before I started. And I couldn't come out here and be like, I made $100,000. Like, no. So if you are projecting or copying videos that this programs are telling you to do, no one believes you. And that's really hard. And it will continue to be that way unless you change something. Okay. All right. Moving on. So, identifying purpose and goals. Okay. So, you should know all of this. These are like just the three major components are defining your target audience. Like, that's the three major ones. But these all go into play as we build out your content strategy. You have to know your why, right? You have to determine the specific objectives you want to achieve with your content. There are different types of content. There are engagement pieces of content. There are conversion pieces of content. Typically, an engagement piece of content will get more engagement. It won't make sales. So this is usually like a top of funnel content, right? You may or may not know that. I just did an entire training on that in my academy with my students, but top of funnel is like bringing new people in. This is growth, right? And then you have middle of funnel, which is conversion. Usually conversion content doesn't get um the engagement that engagement pieces get. So a lot of times the content that actually makes you money doesn't get a ton of engagement because you've already warmed those people up, right? So now they're ready to purchase, now they're ready to take the next step with you, but that's not usually the content that brings new people in. You have to learn that. Every piece of content that you put out there on social media you need to know what is the goal of it. If you are just like, I saw this video, it got a ton of views on TikTok, I need to make it right now because I think it's going to help me make a sale. We need to chat. Like, we got to talk about your content strategy. Okay. Second thing is aligning with business objectives. Okay. So ensuring that your content strategy supports your overall business goals, right? It has a cohesive and impactful plan. What I mean by this, if you are selling a product that is, I don't know, teaching people how to grow on Instagram, then why are you giving TikTok tips? Right? It doesn't align. Your content is showing your audience how to get from point A to point B. So your content strategy has to make sense with what you sell. I see so many people out there that are selling like an affiliate marketing program, but they're posting content about how to grow on TikTok. And unless that program specifically teaches you how to grow on TikTok, which it probably doesn't, or people would be having better results, I'm just saying, stop making content about growing on TikTok. Like, unless you have something to offer those people. I have a TikTok growth guide that I created. It's my own product. So that's why I talk about TikTok. I wouldn't be talking about TikTok if I was trying to sell you a homestead guide. Like, and that all comes down to not having a strategy because you're throwing spaghetti at the wall going, oh, this video did really well. I've got to go make this. And it doesn't align with your product or service. So when people decide, oh my God, she's great. I love her. I want to learn from her on TikTok about TikTok. And they go to your stand store and they're like, what the hell is this? That's not what she was talking about. It doesn't make sense. You've got to lead your customers through a journey. They have to see that you're taking them from point A to point B. And if you start talking about point A and your product or service is point Z, there's a disconnect. Of course, they're not buying anything. And I'm telling you guys this from experience. Like, I've seen this so much in content audits. You're creating content off the wall, off the cuff. Maybe you're in a program where they're like, here's the copy of our top 10 viral videos. Ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. Okay. And then choosing the right content types. So there's a lot of different content types. Of course, short form video is my personal favorite. I think it's queen. But I have a student that has a blog. She's an amazing writer. So we are making, Teresa's making her blog her signature piece of content. And so everything else we're doing, her entire content strategy will revolve around her blog. How do we get more people to her blog? Right? For me, right now, I'm trying to make my Instagram grow. So pretty much everything that I'm doing is leading back to my Instagram growth. Um, Even down to the strategy I have behind my TikTok, because if you follow me on TikTok, you'll notice my videos over the last weekish have been different, right? They've been different than I was doing 3 weeks ago. And that's because I changed my content strategy there because I have a different goal. My goal right now is different, right? So there's no point in posting what I was posting previously because my goal has changed, right? So if you don't know how to choose the right content types for the result that you're looking for, then you're going to keep struggling. It's going to continue to be a struggle. All right. So then this is where the planning comes into place, right? So you've probably done some training of some sort on content pillars, right? Most people don't even understand it, right? But you've got to identify the key themes and topics that you're going to talk about in your content. And I hate to tell you guys this, some of you are going to be heartbroken. But I have used in the past, and I've even got some training on this in my academy about different themes like Motivation Monday, Tip Tuesday, because that makes it very easy for creation. But that's not really your content pillars. Okay. Your content pillars need to be geared towards your ideal client. That's what we talked about in the beginning. So if you are just doing a Motivation Monday to do a Motivation Monday and it's not focused on your ideal client and showcasing that transformation, it will fall flat. It will go nowhere. Your Tip Tuesday is going nowhere because it's not showing them, how you are the authority, right? You might have a mom content pillar. Okay. I got a mom content pillar and I'm just going to show everybody how my life is a shit show. What does that do for your client? Right? I hate to tell you, but they don't care about you. That's harsh, but it's truth, right? If you're spending the first minute of your content talking about you, they scroll past it. Your content pillars have to be about them, not about you, right? And even within each content pillar, there are different topics, and I don't mean topics as in like health and wellness or this or that. I mean topics as in like psychological topics like mistakes, misconceptions, false beliefs, like those types of psychological topics that you have to have in each content pillar. And it's key if you want your content to grow. It is absolutely key. That is where most people get stuck. They don't know how to develop those pillars. But I'm telling you right now, if you take the time to build out a content strategy and you have your pillars, so to speak, and 10 topics in each pillar that you're confident in that are focused on your ideal client that showcase that transformation, if you get that nailed down, it's 30 ideas. Then guess what? Every month you rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. And that's where the content calendar comes in. So I hear very often when I'm talking content strategy with people, they're like, yeah, I post 3 times a day. That is not a strategy. That is a posting schedule. That is a content calendar. And a content calendar is very important. I live by mine. You should see mine on Trello. It's absolutely incredible. And I give my students in the academy like I even shared mine with them so they could like behind the scenes see. But developing a detailed schedule so that you're consistent, right? So what I did with my students yesterday, the last Tuesday of the month, we always sit down and we plan out their content for the next month. So we look at your hooks, what topics are we talking about? And if they do that, the full 6 months of my program, when they get out, they have 6 months worth of content that's fully complete, that's had my eyes on it, that they'll be able to rinse and repeat forever. Forever. And it's all about organization, right? Because if you're waking up every day, filming on the fly, typing your captions on the fly and you're not planning any of this and you're not documenting or keeping it organized, of course you're going to always be on your phone. Of course. All of mine is documented, organized, planned out so that today I have a doctor's appointment with my daughter, I have errands to run, I have things to do, I've got messages to get back to, all of those things. The last thing I need to be doing today is spending 20 minutes typing out an Instagram caption. It's already done on Trello. I'm going to copy it, paste it on my phone. Done. Done. It also ensures that you're consistent. And I know we hear consistency a lot. And I always hear people say, well, I post 3 times a day. I'm super consistent. Consistency is not always about the amount, it's about the quality, the messaging. Is your messaging consistent? If you're talking about TikTok tips today, Instagram growth tomorrow, mom life the next day, and all 3 of them are speaking to a different ideal client, you're not consistent. You may think you are. You may think you're doing all the things. You're not consistent. This is what I teach in my academy, okay? The last thing is resource allocation, right? So you need to allocate necessary time, budget, talent to bring your content strategy to life. And this is one reason that like I said, getting off your phone more, right? So this is something I had a connect call with someone yesterday about my academy, and she was like, I don't have time for anything. Like she's got kids, she has a job, she also takes care of her elderly parents. Like she is all over the place. So every day, by the time she sits down to create content, she's like, I do not want to do this. And I don't blame her. I do not blame her. So if you have a content strategy and it's planned out, me getting all of my content posted, copying from my Trello board, pasting it 30 minutes a day. And I do usually 2 Instagram reels a day, 2 to 3 TikToks a day, a Facebook post, a post in my group, an email, and I'm all in my stories. All of that in less than 30 minutes a day. And 9 times out of 10, it takes me 30 minutes a day because I go back and I'm a perfectionist and I try to edit some of it, honestly, if I'm being truthful. But this is a content plan. This is not a content strategy, okay? So stop making that mistake. And then, of course, once you have all of those things, once you've executed, you got to track your metrics. You got to gather feedback. You need to be optimizing and stay agile. So your metrics will tell you what's right and what's happening, what's not happening, what's performing, what's not performing, what sucks, what needs, more work. They will tell you everything. You need to be reading them. You need to understand how to read them. You need to understand what they tell you because views are not it. So I have a lot of people that are like, well, this is my top performing video. I'm going to make it again. Okay. Well, that video might have got the most views, but this video actually gained you the most followers. So you're better off making this video again. You have to understand how to read your analytics. Gathering audience feedback, right? So engaging with your audience, not your peers only. You have to engage with your ideal client too. Okay. Understanding. If I see comments on my TikToks over and over and over, I'm like, I got to make a video about that. People are asking. Like your audience, once you start getting momentum, will tell you what they want. You just have to know how to listen. And do you think that I'm the expert that knows everything? No. But when I see 4 times a comment about drop shipping, and that's not a topic that I do, right? I have had so many comments on TikTok about drop shipping. One time I made a video that was like, I am not an expert at drop shipping. I don't claim to be. However, I am an expert at TikTok growth. So this is how I would, use TikTok to grow your drop shipping business. And I took a topic that I was getting asked about that's not really relevant to me. That's not something I'm an expert in, that I've never done. And I researched it. I did research for my ideal clients. And I made a video that spoke to them in something that I'm an authority in. I gathered their feedback and I made a video that related to them. You have to be doing the same thing. Continuously optimizing, right? So when you come to me in my comments and my DMs and you're like, I'm doing all the things. I've been posting 3 times a day for 90 days. It's not working. Well, then stop posting the same damn thing. Something's got to change. If you've been doing it for 90 days, 3 times a day, and it ain't working, it's time we look at it. Because if you keep doing it for another 90 days, it's still not going to work. Okay. So that's one thing that really frustrates me is a lot of gurus will tell you stay consistent, stay consistent, stay consistent. But the consistency has to be not only in the posting, but the messaging. And you could be consistent all day doing the wrong thing and it's not going to get you a result. So if that's you, we've got to work on your strategy. Okay. And then staying agile, you guys, stay prepared to pivot. It's going to happen. You are in an industry, if you are using social media at all for your business, you are in an industry that is going to change. Okay. Like TikTok. We don't know what's going to happen with TikTok. I haven't even checked the news lately to see what's happening with TikTok. At this point, I have let it just roll off and been like, it's going to be whatever it's going to be, which is why I changed my strategy. Okay. I'm staying agile. I'm not leaving TikTok. I'm still showing up over there 2 times a day, but I stopped trying to grow it just until we find out what's going on. I am now trying to grow my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, go do that. It's the same as on TikTok, socially.ausome. Okay, that's my business account. Some of you are probably following me on Elise One Smith. That's my personal account. I share a lot of the same stories, but I don't share the same type of content. But I decided to put my energy into growing Instagram this year because we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok. I'm still there. I still have an audience. I'm still serving my audience, but I've changed my strategy. I'm staying agile. You have to do the same thing. And this is what I teach my students. So if you don't know how, this is where you need help. Okay. So I kept it to almost 30 minutes. We're at 31. But I would like to let you guys know, for those of you that are still here, those of you who are watching the replay, there's 2 things that I want to tell you. Okay. And don't let them confuse you. So I have 2 offers that I want to open the table for on ways to work with me. Okay. And if you've been doing the same thing for months now and you've been getting the same result, it is time that you invest in yourself and you make a change. And I know you may have bought a ton of courses. You might be like, I've done this, I've bought something. You haven't worked with me. You haven't worked with me. I'm going to say that. Okay. I have students that have come in and got their ROI like that. I have students that have come in and, got clarity in their business. And now they're like, you know what? I feel better and more fulfilled. My husband has noticed a difference. My husband's like, well, are you happier? There is a lot of different types of wins working with me. And my students will tell you that I support them above and beyond. Okay. I've never had a student that has told me they didn't get the support they were looking for. If they plugged in and they stayed consistent with me, they showed up. I've never had a student say they didn't get their money's worth ever. Okay. But I have something new coming too. So these are the offers that I have. And I have not publicly launched the first one. So I'm really excited to tell you guys about it. You're in my community. So I'm giving you a sneak peek at it, but it's not been publicly launched. Okay. But let me see if I could pull this up because I would love to just make kind of a little bit of a reveal for you guys. Probably can't. But so this offer, okay, so this is for the person that is posting consistently, right? Showing up on social media every day and doesn't feel like their content is reaching their ideal client. Okay. So maybe you're showing up every day. You're like, I can't seem to figure it out. Your comments are full of, your peers. You are burnt out trying to figure out who your ideal client is. Maybe you don't even know what to post. Maybe you wake up and you're like, I don't know what to even talk about today. You need more discovery with the first 3 things that we talked about: your ideal client, how it relates to your audience, and what is your story, right? Remember that first slide that we talked about? Okay. So if that is you, let me tell you about something new that is coming. It's called the Social Success Club. Okay. I'll tell you a little bit about the club. So the club has my accredited curriculum, okay, on mindset, because a lot of your business is mindset. And if you are in my DMs going, I'm doing everything and it's not working, you're not in the mindset of, I am ready to make a change. You need to work on your mindset. Okay. So the club goes through mindset. It goes through, here, we'll actually open it. Let's look together. I'll show you. Giving you guys like seriously behind the scenes sneak peek. Like nobody's seen this yet. Okay. I just told my students a little bit about it yesterday. So, mindset, right? Understanding the importance of mindset. What do you really want? Setting goals for your business. A lot of you never did the prep work for being a business owner. You may have bought a course, jumped right into it, started trying to make sales, and you have to do the business work in order to be successful. You have to have systems, you have to have organization, you have to know your goals. How can you get to $10,000 a month if you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, right? You don't know how to get there. You have no idea. You don't have a plan. You don't have a path to get there. So this is the mindset mastery. Okay. And burnout, talking about social media boundaries, there's so many pieces. Then I go through branding. Branding is a massive piece of your content. We talked about that earlier today. You have your ideal client. We got to figure out who they are, how to serve them, how does your offers relate to them, and then how do we make that emotional connection? That's where branding comes in. And I am a certified branding expert. Okay. Like have a certificate. I'm not. So I go through branding with you. It's so important that you get this. Okay. And then defining your niche and your ideal avatar. So this is where we're going to go through all of the trouble that you've been having with only getting other digital marketers in your comments, not evoking that emotion. No one's getting any emotion from you. So if you're not getting any engagement or any sales, the club is for you. Okay. So you get immediate access to my trainings here that you can see. Okay. You get immediate access to my trainings. And every Thursday at 10 Central Standard Time, we will have a live call where I will be live answering questions. So this is how you can, get feedback from me. This is how I was going to try to show you guys the community piece as well. So this is how you'll be able to get feedback from me. This is where you can ask me questions, right? It's going to be live training calls, 10 o'clock every Thursday. They will be recorded. So you'll have the recording. Okay. The club is a monthly membership. So you come in, you stay as long as you need to be able to work these things out. You can stay forever. I don't care. Totally up to you. And then we work together. So you could be on at 4 monthly calls and all of my training while you're in the club. You can cancel at any time. If you come in for a month, you nail this down. You're like, look, I'm good. I want to get in the academy. Like I'm ready to do content strategy. Or you're just like, look, this just ain't for me. Either way, cancel at any time. But this is a monthly membership club. Okay. We also have a community piece. So I decided not to create a Facebook group for this. I decided to actually use the community feature in my back office because we all have seen Facebook went down for a period of time this year, right? There was a day where Facebook was gone. So I decided for the purpose of this hub to take it off social media. But you'll see there is an announcements thread. This is where I'll let you guys know like what is coming, questions for me. So as you're going through the coursework, I know you've been there where you're like, I have a question and I don't know who to ask, right? This is where you ask it. Sorry, my grandma's calling. This is where you ask it. So this is how you'll get my eyes on your questions, okay? Sharing your wins. We want to celebrate you. Weekly live calls. This is where the live call recordings will be. This is where the accountability thread. So there's actually an accountability thread, you guys, where every week as we're going through things or as you're going through the coursework, I will tell you, post this on the accountability thread. Someone has to hold you accountable. Okay. So the club is not officially launched, but I am opening it up to my group right now as a as a private only thing. I will probably launch this to the public in the next, I would say, week and a half. So if you're interested in the club, you can drop club in the comments. But this is going to be how you can work with me to really get super clear on your ideal client. What do you need to be saying in your content? And, you know, what does that look like desire wise, evoking that emotion in your content in order to make a sale? Okay. So again, this is not even live. You guys are getting first sneak peek. I am going to do a special offer for the first 100 people. So the club is actually going to be priced at $99 a month. Okay. For the first 100 people that get in the club, I'm going to give 20% off of that. So if you're interested, drop club in the comments. But once this goes live publicly, it's going to sell out. This has been highly requested for from my audience on TikTok for sure. And this is how you'll be able to work with me on your business. Okay. Now, if you're someone that has, already started working on this, you're pretty clear on your ideal client. Maybe you've made some sales in your business, but they're not consistent. You know your ideal client, you know your offers, you have all of that, but you don't have a content strategy. That the academy is for you. And I'm going to share this tab. So a lot of you have been on connect calls with me for the academy. Okay. But Social Success Academy 2.0 will also be launching here shortly. Okay. I'm working with a consultant right now. We're getting all my sales pages and all those things done. But the 2.0 version is just more direct and more clear than the 1.0. So if you're currently in the academy, nothing's changing for you. You get everything. But the 2.0 version is I'm shaving a little bit of it back in order to allow my students more time and energy for the club as well. So for those of you that are in my academy currently, or those of you that want to be in my academy, you will also get the club. So when you're in my academy, you get everything that I do. So you'll get access to the club, any master classes, any workshops, anything I do in the future, you get it for free as a student. Okay. But my Social Success Academy is, and I'll show you guys for those of you that have never looked at it. This is where we get hyper focused on your content strategy. Okay. So I have weekly calls. The weekly calls for the academy are on Tuesdays at 10. And I was just trying to get down to what's included for you guys. Here you go. So in my academy, we hyper focus on content strategy. And you get 2 private coaching calls with me. So this is where we build out your individual strategy. This is why other programs have not worked for you, because they say, you're only on a group call. No one's working with you customized. No one's answering your questions. You have to ask everything in a group chat. You're not getting customized response, customized support. Okay. When you come into my academy, you get 2 one-on-one calls with me. Okay. And this is where we customize those things for you. We also have a private Voxer support channel. So this is where you get unlimited access to ask questions. I'm in there Monday through Thursday. I do my business is closed on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. But you're able to get your questions answered quickly versus having to wait another week, right? You get full access to my full curriculum, Facebook community and support, weekly live calls. So we have our weekly live trainings. You get a custom made welcome box. So that's pretty fun. Access to any workshops, trainings, challenges I do in the future. So again, you get the club for free. You'll get any workshops I do for free. Lifetime access to the back office. So the club is a membership program. So if you decide to exit the club or cancel the club, you lose access. Okay. With the academy, you keep that curriculum forever. Okay. So you do get lifetime access. You get access to all previous academy calls and replays. So I give students access to all live call trainings we've done in the past, because there's a lot of really good information in there, and then hundreds of templates. So academy is really set up to where I'm like, we're going to make you a content strategy. Let's work on this. Here's a template for you to start working on it. Let's do it together. Let's work on your email workflow. Here's some templates for you to start. I try to give my students templates for as much as possible so that they have a starting point, right? Because I can't tell you how many people I talk to that are like, I know I need to be sending emails, but I don't even know what to say. I don't even know where to start. So I have templates all in there for my academy. So just this has gone a lot longer than I thought it would go. I'm so sorry. I like to talk. But if you are someone who's not making sales at all, you're struggling with engagement, you're struggling with content, speaking to the right person, the club is for you. If you've made some sales, you know your ideal client, but they're not consistent, you're still spending hours on the phone, you are still struggling with, what to say in your emails, how to go from TikTok to Instagram, like you've made some sales, but you don't have a system in place, the academy is for you. Okay. So you can drop club in the comments, you can drop academy in the comments. I'm headed to the doctor with my daughter, so I will be away from the computer for a little while, but I will be back tonight to get with anyone that's interested, because I will be publicly opening access to the club and Academy 2.0. Like I said, in the next week or two. My goal is actually Mother's Day. I know it would be the best treat to myself. So I have like a week. But there's limited spots in the academy. There's unlimited spots in the club, but only the first 100 people will get 20% off. Okay. And the 20% off, just so I'm very clear, that will actually go for your, as long as you're in the club. So what is 20% off 99? So like is that like what, $18 savings? So as long as you stay in the club, you will get it at that 20% off price. It won't increase the second month. I just want to be super clear on that. All right. I hope you got value out of today's content strategy session. I hope you got value out of, just breaking it down for you, because I think it's a very confusing topic for people. And I cannot wait to work with you either in the club or in the academy. So, all right, guys.